Hi there, welcome to my video today. I am going to walk you through a process of how I use oil pastels in my mixed media today. I have been sent these from Lightwish. These are the Kuelox oil pastels. They are professional grade, so I'm really excited to see how they work. And also, Picasso was famous for using these, so I really want to see how they can kind of impact my mixed media pieces. Just to show you a little bit of the boxing, they send you a card. You can put all the colors on it so you know how they show up on the paper. And then this is just a basic brochure to show you the different colors. They have different color sets that you can get, and also techniques on how to use oil pastels in general. So here are the colors. And this is just kind of the basic set. They do have one that has a little bit more of a floral bent, and then they have one that's a little darker colors. But I felt like these were perfect ones to start with because it kind of has a lot of pinks and reds, some really pretty greens and blues. So I feel like it was really a good match for my art. And then it comes with bigger size white and black, some extra white and black, and then some grays and silver. So I'm going to play around with them a little bit and just kind of show you how they work. Oil pastels are a little different than regular pastels because they don't actually ever dry. They just harden. So one of the things you have to keep in mind when you're using them is to put them on top of any water-based liquid that you're going to use. So I use acrylic paints, so these would go on top of the acrylics. Otherwise, if you put them underneath, the acrylic will just sit on top of the oils and it won't ever dry. It'll just smear all over. So just something to keep in mind if you're planning on using them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. So let's get started. I'm going to start with my mixed media paper that I always use. I'm going to make a little bit of an abstract scene and just kind of play with the pastels. But before we get started, I just want to show you a few common techniques on using actual oil pastels. So this first one is just showing you how you can kind of blend them in lightly at first and darker to give varying intensity of colors. And usually people use either some kind of paper towel or even your finger to blend it in. You can see how easy they blend. And each one depends on the quality, the grade of the oil pastel, how well they blend and how the colors show up. So I'm just kind of using different colors, and this technique is called sgraffito. It's kind of like graffiti, and you kind of etch into the actual color. You can either do it with one color, or here I'm putting a darker color over a lighter color, and then when you etch in, it shows the lighter color underneath. So it's just another way to kind of create layers, especially in mixed media, and just create different marks and interesting little spots. There are two other techniques a lot of people use. One is like a wax resist. You put the oil pastel down first and then paint over it, and it would leave lines there. But a lot of times you can use maybe white on a white paper, and then the paint would show around it, kind of like using a crayon on an Easter egg when you dye them. And then the other is glazing. And what glazing is you use turpentine or some kind of oil medium that is made for blending colors together. Sometimes people even use baby oil, but just keep in mind if you use baby oil, it is not archival, so you will have some problems later on with it possibly decomposing the paper down the line. So there it is up close, just kind of give you a little bit of style and techniques you can use. And here's just a close-up of the colors, really pretty, really vibrant, a lot of pigment in these oil pastels. So far they're a lot of fun to use. So I'm just going to get started with a basic acrylic background. I feel like it's important to have a little bit of a base for my artwork to put the oil pastels down on top of. A lot of people start right on the paper, and you can use any mixed media paper with oil pastels. You do want something that has a little bit of a tooth so that it can grab onto it. If you have too much of a smooth paper, then the pastels will show up differently. You also want to use a little bit of a higher quality paper because it will bring out the pigments and just kind of give an overall better appearance as you use the pastels. So I'm just kind of moving paint around different washes. And in this demo, I'm not thinking too much about creating a cohesive painting. I'm just kind of playing and having fun. So it's almost like a page from my art journal. I just want to make some marks and see how these show up on top of any kind of acrylics, just in a mixed media piece in general. So this is my Posca paint pen, which easily layers over any kind of acrylic paints. And I just wanted to get some marks down, and then I will add some oil pastels. This color was really pretty. It's like a rose color. The thing I really like about these pastels is how vibrant the colors are. And you can really easily blend them. One of the things I did do, it was a little bit of a mistake, was I didn't let that corner dry very well. So it kind of crumbled the paper a little. So I just had to kind of let that dry and then go back to it later. But as you can see, the rose and the pink really easily blended together. And these are just some really pretty light green, light blue. And the fun part about using these oil pastels is that you can just kind of keep layering them as long as you don't use too heavy of a hand when you apply them. You could keep layering and smoothing out, blending them, making different layers of colors. You don't want to be too heavy-handed because then the pigment gets to be too thick and then you won't be able to create different colors on top because it'll just get saturated. But if you kind of just layer lightly, you can go for a while and create some really pretty colors. So I just use that sgraffito technique again, just kind of having fun and seeing how these layer on the piece, different colors that kind of I can blend together. That turquoise, that light blue is really pretty. And you can see they really easily layer over acrylic paints, but you kind of have to think ahead as to how you're going to use them because, again, you can't do them in conjunction with acrylic paints. You have to have them be kind of the final, the final layer. If you do it thin enough, if you do layer it thin enough, you could possibly use paint pens over it, but in general, you want the oil pastels to be sitting on top. You can kind of see how easy they are to blend. Really smooth and really nice application. Now you can see I used the Posca paint pen over that bluish area. So it does make you able to blend a little bit as long as it's, like I said before, as long as it's not too thickly applied. So I'm just having fun making some marks, seeing how everything kind of blends together. And you can see again, I'm layering over it. So that's a pretty thin layer there. So I am able to use a paint pen on top of them. You just have to experiment and see what works for you, what you like, how it looks, and how it feels. You know, when you have a paint pen over top of the oil pastels, you can feel it. You can feel a difference, and it doesn't apply as smoothly. You can kind of see it lost the line right there. That's over the oil pastels. So you can layer with these as long as you're aware of where you're layering it with the acrylics or any water-based. You could use these with watercolors and you can layer on top. I felt like those lines were a little bright, so I wanted to just blend them into the background a little. Again, just having fun, kind of treating it like an art journal page, just experimenting with the colors and the opacity of the oil pastels. It's really fun to blend them. They just give like a really nice soft look. So this is the paint pen over the acrylic paint. You can kind of see how it all works together. That's the real nice thing about these. They're really nice to use as kind of a finishing touch because they blend beautifully and give you some really nice colors, and they really complement any acrylic mixed media piece. So I hope you enjoyed watching this demo today. It was really fun playing with these oil pastels. I'm going to put links in the description for the different sets for you, and there is a discount for a limited time. There are 2 other videos right here that may interest you. I appreciate you watching today, and I hope to see you again soon.